beware. If you're going to talk to me about anything related to video games and tech, well, we might turn it into a video. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Stepsbasic, and welcome back to my community show. Boop-a-doop, boop, boop. Today, we have a fun little topic to talk about, but first, as always, let's get the announcements out of the way. This has been an exciting week, huh? I got to return to Warframe, baby, and I suck at it again. I'm gonna have to do a lot of warming up to get it done, to get back to where I was. But yeah, it was great to be back, and I can't wait. Can't wait to play some more. It's got me itching again. I got that fever. I got that Warframe fever going. It's going to be great. Also, in addition to that, we finished up a DreadX The Hunt, and we'll be starting DreadX 3 this coming week, which will be exciting because that's the one that I haven't played yet. And honestly, I was looking forward to playing it, but, I was going to save it for Spooktober. But now this year, with everything and how it's going, I think I'm going to be waiting till... I think I'm going to be doing Resident Evil 7 for sure this time during Spooktober, because that's one that I kept putting off, and I think an entire month will be all right to burn through that, and then maybe just maybe I will be able to get to Resident Evil 8. I'm a little peeved, by the way. This freaking Resident Evil 8 demo thing. I had it. I downloaded it, and I'm like, I'm gonna play it this week. I'm gonna get to it. And then when I went to actually play it, well, it turns out it was a limited time offer. I hate that. Like, I don't mind the whole time limit on it, because it's supposed to give you a little taste. It's not supposed to give you like a whole huge section of the game. So, just a half-hour time on it, I don't mind that. That's all right. That's cool. Because that's what demos are for. Just demonstrate how the game's going to look, how it's going to play, what you can expect, sort of thing. So a 30-minute time limit on it is fine. But only an 8-hour window during which to play it, ugh. And on top of that, I actually had another demo that I downloaded to play during this week, and that one just straight up didn't work. So, why, people? Why? One demo timed, the other demo broken. Good news is, though, I do have the castle, and I'm going to play, or I still have the Resident Evil 8 part installed, and I've seen the forest, or the village. Yeah, the village. I've seen the village part. So now I can go in and play the castle part for y'all this week. Hopefully I don't forget, because I have a very small window in which to play it. And of course they're going to be releasing the dual part later. So, woo. But yeah, anyway, that's it. That's all the announcements for today. We all know where we stand and what we're going to be doing. And so, on to the topic for today, which is the subscription services. Now, this is one thing that, I always feel a lot of people misinterpret. Now, for the most part, my opinion on subscription services are, depending on what it is not bad. But of course, there's a big heavy emphasis on depending on what it is that will affect my opinion on it. Like Netflix, okay. Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, all subscription services. It's like you're joining a club sort of deal, paying for the premiums. But there are other things that I feel are stupid when it comes to subscriptions, like Adobe. Why? Why is there a subscription service for that? And Filmora has a subscription service too, or I don't know if they still do, but they used to. And they still have the option to just buy the product outright. And it's like, I bought Filmora back way back. In fact, it was the second editing software I used next to Windows Movie Maker. And I bought it back before they implemented the subscription service. And then when they implemented the subscription service, they also offered the option to buy the product outright, which was good, That's the sort of thing that I like. Like, you can't afford to pay the $70 for the full service, even though I paid $45 because I bought it before they did that. And then, okay, so maybe you want to just subscribe to it. That way you can use it without having to worry about watermarks and whatnot. But I don't know. I still feel like something like that is a little skeezy. Having a full product that you just pay to use. It's kind of renting, and I don't know. It just seems a little off to me. But then let's talk about pertaining to video games and whatnot. Now, of course, we all know the two big subscription services on consoles being PlayStation Plus and Xbox Gold. Now, back before PlayStation Plus was a thing, Xbox Gold was something much derided and laughed at by us Sony boys. Now, of course, I'm obviously not in the way of a Sony boy. I just happen to play Sony more often than anything else. And I don't own an Xbox because I'm poor. But we laughed at it because it was a stupid idea. Oh, you pay Xbox for the privilege of playing your games with your friends. And over here on PlayStation, we're like, haha, we don't need to pay a subscription service to play with our friends, play our own games with our friends. And those on PC are like, haha, we don't have to play a subscription service for the right to play our games with our friends. Haha. And then PlayStation Plus comes along and we're like, Sony, stop it. Now, I have since kind of turned around on my idea of the PlayStation Plus idea, but mostly because it offers a good deal. I hate the fact that I have to pay to play with my friends online. That's stupid, but I like the idea that I get my money's worth in free games. That does not necessarily mean that I'm going to like the games that I get because they choose the games I get. I would much rather have a choice, like, hey, you have spent this much money in PlayStation Plus. Choose your game. But at the same time, it's like, I kind of understand. They want to push games out there. And, the ones that get the least amount of love, let's put that out there. And, like I said, I kind of understand. I would rather have the choice, but, hey, at least I still get my money's worth because most of the games you get throughout the year, you pay about 15, 16 bucks a month, and you get more than that in value of the game that you get. Sometimes you get twice as much in just one of the games, and it's like, oh, epic. So I don't feel too badly about PlayStation Plus anymore. I just don't like the idea of having to pay to play, sort of deal. Like, come on, man. That's just ridiculous. And, of course, I don't know much about the Xbox, but as far as I know, that's the only option that they offer is, like, you pay the PlayStation, or you pay the Xbox Gold, and then you get the option to play with your friends online. If that's the only thing they offer, then that's kind of suck, but, But now let's talk about the two other big ones that are much less talked about, specifically PlayStation Now versus Xbox Game Pass. Now, of course, Xbox Game Pass has the option to bundle with the why do I keep wanting to say that? Xbox Game Pass has the option to bundle with the Xbox Gold subscription and get the Game Pass Ultimate, which is $24 a month, and you get both services. And then PlayStation Now is just $20 a month. I think it was $20 a month, and you get access to a revolving or rotating, or it's not even rotating really, from what I understand. You get access to a few games that will change from month to month, or a couple months to month. And that seems to me like a silly idea, especially when it comes to video games. Like Xbox Game Pass gives you access to so many games. They actually have a list online if you want to look it up. More than 100 high quality games from all the eras of Xbox. And it's funny thinking about how much it is, how much is offered in the Xbox Game Pass is just ridiculous. Like I was looking at that and I'm like, my goodness, they are offering all of these games and the ability to play it on your PC or your Xbox and all that stuff. And all PlayStation does is say, hey, look at these games we have available. Don't get too attached. And when it comes to video games, it's like some of these games take hours to complete, you know? Like Parasite Eve could take, depending on how you play it, upwards of 30 hours to play. And it's like, if I start playing this now and it disappears from PlayStation Now next month, then what am I going to do? I wasn't done yet. And now I'm sad because now my game is gone and you guys suck. The funny part is, like, especially with this console release, like, they may have made the best game since sliced bread, or the best console since sliced bread, but it's their their community outreach, their community services are sucking right now, and like, it's one thing I've noticed like throughout the years is Xbox versus PlayStation, and this is turning into a console war discussion. Like I feel like play whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You're not better than anyone else or worse than anyone else for what you choose to play. But unless of course you play PC, in which case you have a much better option. But anyway, so it's like the Xbox versus the PlayStation. Over the years, I've noticed a lot of things. Like Xbox will promise you the world and deliver you a trickle, and PlayStation will not really promise anything. And it's like I think they kind of learned from I think Xbox has kind of learned from their past because what they promise they end up delivering eventually. Like they'll say, "We have this available and it's going to be so awesome." But then turn around on release day and it's like, "Oh, this isn't available because we didn't finish it. So we're going to be working on it and we'll get it to you eventually." And then PlayStation was always they would never really promise anything, and then when they delivered something, it's like, oh, cool, and then fans would be like, I want this, and PlayStation was like, no. But now these days, it's like their customer appreciation and consumer respect has dropped significantly. Like they were about to get rid of PS Vita and PS3 stores, and it's like some people don't even have a PS4 yet. Come on, people. And they're like, ah, well, we don't need it anymore. We've got all this stuff over here. And there were, of course, rumors about PlayStation's complete reverse compatibility and with PS5, and they're like, no, we ain't doing that. But they actually reversed the decision on the PS Vita and PS3 stores, which is good. But at the same time, reminds me of why I like digital copies so much better than I like, or sorry, I like hard copies better than I like digital copies. But you know, in there it kind of, you know, you get rid of one of the stores and it's like, oh, so I can't access any of my PlayStation 3 games anymore. You know what's really funny though is I never bought anything from the PS3 store. I actually barely went online with my PlayStation 3 until like the end of the generation. And now it's like my PS4. I have so many digital games for it, and I have so many like apps. Like I use Netflix on my PlayStation 4 so often. Like that's a daily occurrence thing for me. And of course, you know, I get to play with my friends because I pay for the PlayStation Plus subscription service. It's kind of funny going back to the subscription services. One thing I've kind of noticed is that a lot of things have decided that they need to be subscription services now, and it's like to a degree I can understand because it's like there was this one invention that I saw go by online, right? And it was a it was a grocery list. It was made of metal, had little tabs you can flip back and forth, and I'm like, my grandma used to have one of those. I remember that. But that sort of thing is creating a market that is doomed, as it were. Because it's like the reason they never make a permanent light bulb, they never make a light bulb that will last forever, because of the simple fact that they need to keep selling light bulbs. And if you make something that lasts forever, quote unquote, then sales for said item will eventually trickle off to a stop. So if you make an item like a permanent a grocery list, a piece of metal with flippy tabs that say, I need eggs, I need bread, I need such and such, then you're creating an endpoint for your business. Because, for one thing, you're eventually going to sell to everybody who needs one. And then once you've sold to everyone who needs one, you're not going to be turning any profit anymore. And anytime you start making more, you're just going to be shooting yourself in the foot. Granted, yes, down the line there may be more people who want them, but after a while, you're not going to have any more market because you're not going to have any money to make the product, and the product's not going to be selling because everybody's already got one. And so, like, to a degree, I can understand that. So it's like you make a software program, you sell it for a one-time cost of such and such money. Like Filmora, I bought Filmora at $45. So you make Filmora $45 and you put it on the market. Now, this one's a little bit different because it's not something that everybody's going to want to buy, but you put it out there for everybody to buy, and then it's like the niche market of people who like it or who need an editing software like I was are going to pick it up and be like, okay, cool, I got editing software. And then it's going to grow, and people are going to be like, oh, so I don't really like Adobe anymore because they kind of suck. And so they're going to like, what sort of editing software out there that I can use? Oh, look, we got Filmora. Let me try that, and stuff like that. So it's like it's a market that kind of fluctuates. Sometimes you're gonna be able to sell to everybody who needs it, and then there's going to be more market for it, more pushing, but eventually it still has a terminal date, whereas technically everyone can own it at one point. So in order to keep making money on it and keep updating it, something that software programs kind of need, it makes sense to institute a sort of subscription service, as it were, so you can actually keep making money and keep improving your product. As opposed to what they used to do, which would be, hey, you download this program, you download version 1.0, you're going to have to go back later and buy version 2.0. So, you know, I think that's what Adobe did for a while before they made a subscription service. But then there are ones that, like, I don't really like the idea that they do, because it's like Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word in particular, became a subscription service. And for a stupid price, too. It's like, ugh. So I naturally went out and like, okay, you're going to be charging stupid prices for this. I'm going to be looking for something better. Which brings me to the other point of subscription services, where is sometimes they are needed. In a lot of cases, the companies get greedy and they start charging stupid prices for them. So it's like Filmora, $45 to buy it outright. And then later on, they instituted a subscription fee, which I think was $15 a month, which to a degree, okay, I understand. A little high for my taste, but given what the product is, it makes sense because it's very intricate, form of software. And then I forget what it was, but it was something like $100 for Word, and it was a stupid price for a subscription to it. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. So I'm gonna get this open office thing. I like that so much better because the company got greedy. And the funny part is, Microsoft Office is basically sold to every PC manufacturer. So they have a guaranteed purchase. They have a guaranteed sale in every PC manufacturer. So the fact that they charge an outrageous and stupid price for their product doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's a few rambly thoughts on subscription services, and a few rambly thoughts on the console war, which honestly I wasn't expecting to go into, but it makes sense given what we're talking about, subscription services. What are your thoughts on this? Do you absolutely hate subscriptions? Do you accept them as a necessary evil? Do you like them? Do you like the idea of not having to have a what do you call it? Do you like not having the idea of spending a lot of money for a commitment and then feeling like you're bogged down in what do you call it? A need to use the product because you spent so much money on it, a return on investment, as it were, or what are your other thoughts on subscription services? But apart from all that, that's all I've got for you for today. Thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of The Community Show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, go poke that like button for me. If you'd like to see more from me, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, you're more than welcome to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If I can, you know all that jazz. And tune in next time for another episode, another time. And until then, good night.